All right, welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show. I got my man Anthony Schlegel doing some sort of hawk call, and since he's summoning the hawk or a turkey, or I'm not sure what type of bird of prey or waterfowl or whatever that might be, let's welcome in our guy, Mr. Aaron James Hawk. Juiced up here on a Wednesday. You know, it's been interesting. The last couple of shows Schlegs and I have had, it seems almost like Ohio State has lost the game. They lost 2 games in a row instead of just 1 and then a bye week in another game. Like, give me some idea of what it's like, what your interpretation of what it was like playing Ohio State, the pressures, the juice that you need, all of those things. Not necessarily like X's and O's, but everything else that goes with it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting watching from, like, as a fan, seeing how, like, people outside the program, how they react to everything is what's crazy. I guess I don't know about you guys, but I know when I was there, when I was in school, I was lucky to be just super naive and never really think about much, like, other than what was I was in the moment. Like, I felt like I was truly living in the moment, just having a good time, going to football every day, going to class, and I didn't realize, like, the magnitude of what on the field, how big of a deal it all was. And I hope players are like that now. I don't know. I'm sure it's a lot tougher. They're a lot smarter than I was back then too, and they actually probably think about things and think about, a week later when I truly, when I think back at college, like, I was there. I was in the moment, and I never could wrap my head around at the time. I never thought about what it was like, how people viewed the program, how every single game, so much, like, every single play, what mattered. I think that's good for me. It definitely helped me as a player, not ever thinking about that kind of stuff. But I think as a fan, yeah, I take the positives I take from a game like Nebraska. Honestly, I think you got to find a way to win in many different ways. Like, your team has to have gone through adversity. How are they going to handle it? Are they going to panic when they get behind or something? So I think you got to find a way to win a lot of different ways, and hopefully down the road, when it's cold weather and the games really mean the most, the guys will be all right.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too, and we didn't have that. The only time we heard, like, a lot of negative noise was when Bobby was reading Bucknuts in the back as he was also turning on Journey on Fickle's computer. But now there's the social media aspect, right? And I think that's kind of where there's more access to positives and negatives in college football. But you hit on some great things. Like, if you go look at it, you have Will Howard. Yeah, they score. Will Howard drives right down the field. You have and scores a touchdown. You have a defense that has 13 TFLs. Like, when's the last time, like, you've seen that with 3 sacks? I mean, they're flying around. How do you evaluate teams? Because you're watching teams all the time. You're talking about Pat McAfee. How are you evaluating teams just on an eye test as you're watching them on TV?
Well, I mean, the old cliche, you need to be able to run the ball, and you need to be able to stop the run. That's always a huge thing. If you can control the line of scrimmage, I'm always looking to see, like, who's getting the most push. Like, is your O-line getting pushed when you try to run the ball? And obviously, can they protect your quarterback? But is your D-line getting penetration? And that's what I always watch. And even as a coach in 6th grade teams, like, if you have – we could put a bunch of just average people off the street in the back end. If we have 4 D linemen, they're going to penetrate and are going to make the whoever the running back is, make him
both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Penetrate both sides, make him jump cut, make him, get those inverted running lanes. Like, you're going to be fine. And I think that's what I look for. And that's why I love all the TFLs that you talked about. I heard you on the radio yesterday. Schlegs text you, let you know my kids love it. We listen to you and Bob on the way to school, and they get so pumped, especially when Schlegs is calling in. Sometimes with this, like, whatever your voice may sound like, if you just woke up or whatever, and he always brings the juice. My kids have even asked, is Uncle Schlegs always like that? I'm like, yeah. Have you ever been around him and not seen him exactly this way? And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, the positivity, but just the social media aspect of all of that. And Schlegs is super positive. I mean, you're a positive guy. And, like, I always tried to view it, man, when you step inside the horseshoe, I try to give the guys that perspective. Like, you'd give anything to go back there and play one more game. And it should be at its genesis fun. Like, there should be some joy in the game still. And, like, I know that everybody's supposed to go undefeated and never have a minus. I mean, did you ever go in a single game and not have a minus? Because I certainly didn't. And probably my best games were some of the ones that I maybe had more than I wanted, but you're actually out there making plays.
Yeah, I mean, the positive aspects of everything of playing at Ohio State, I mean, is far and away better than any possible negative that could come your way. And so, yeah, but it's different. Guys, coming up, with all of this media exposure and all the social media and stuff. I know people talk about it all the time. I think also guys are kind of like, they're calloused. By the time they get to college, they've heard plenty of terrible things said about themselves, I'm guessing, online. If you're looking at it, you can find it if you want to. So yeah, I think that they can kind of handle it as well too, and let it kind of, one ear out the other, which is how it should be. I think for both positive and negative stuff, like it should not. I remember Pistol, my dad told me when I was a young kid, I didn't understand it until I got older, but he's like, what, like, good things people say about you or bad things people say about you should not like affect you. Like, just if you can just stay steady and not worry one way or the other, don't let people, patting you on the butt and telling you you're awesome. Like, don't let that get you comfortable and relaxed. And same with the other thing, you can't sit there and worry about what other people are saying.
How did AJ Hawk play the game? Because like we were talking about this, and people were talking about, we got to get guys on. Let's get Schlegel out there and chew people out. And because like Bob and I were talking about this, like Vic never yelled at us, because in the game there's no reason to yell. The preparation's been done. You're making adjustments. Let's go out there and handle our job and complete the mission. Completely different. And I was just talking about, like, the only time I ever saw you get upset for anything was when Bob and Doug stole your helmet because your nose was opening up all the time, and they're like refused to allow you to practice, and you were almost killed.
Those are the trainers, Schlegs. Make sure you know, not me. Like, I wasn't involved. It's Bob and
Doug.
No,
not you. No, not Doug Dadish, but it was our athletic trainers. But like, just give everybody a little glimpse, because you played with passion, you played with energy. You didn't say a whole lot. I remember one time I was like, "Hey, for first crosser," and it was a Michigan game, and like, I was like, "Hey, man, for first," like, I know. Like, I was like, "Okay, yeah, he does. All right." That was it. I guess that was the only stuff that I ever heard, right? Then you just played hard.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I'm the youngest of three. I have two older brothers. So I know everyone's, I guess, personality is different in how they handle things. And my wife has told me before, like, people you're kind of tough to get a read on at times. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, as I've gotten older, I've understood that. I'm like, man, people sometimes think, I guess, of my facial expressions, just how I am. They think I might be like unhappy at the moment or whatever. I'm like, honestly, like, I'm as happy as I've ever been. Like, I feel great. I love it. I love where I'm at in my life. I love everything going on, but I guess I don't show that outwardly as much. And I'm not a great, like, I'm not a great person to receive gifts, because no matter what it is, I'm going to be inside. Like, you can give me anything.
You're a good receiver, AJ.
Well, if you're, it's
got to be the right gift.
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's why I said I'm not a great receiver, Bob, because if I get that gift, I don't have a huge response. It could be, oh, here's the sweetest, like, Ferrari situation ever. And I would be super pumped. I'd be excited, but I wouldn't be doing backflips in the yard and jumping around and going crazy. Even though, inside I might be thinking that. So I guess that's just kind of how I process things. But kind of like you mentioned, Coach Fickle, you're right. Like, you didn't have to yell game day. And he even would tell us, like, game day is for you guys. Like, you guys, that's where you go out there and I'm off your back, and you guys go out there and have fun and play. Because during the week, we know that every single day, every single meeting, every minute, like, there's going to be a purpose to it, and we're going to be focused. Because if we lost focus for half a second, Luke wasn't scared to put his wrestling shoes on and really, give us a business.
Absolutely. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow, big trick-or-treat night. Now, the weather's not going to be ideal. Like, what's the Hawks' plans for this? Do we have family costumes? Did Lennon, like, break the trend and say, screw you, old man, I'm going with my friends. I'm not being part of your stupid stuff anymore?
Well, I mean, years ago, yeah, my daughter's in 8th grade. So, yeah, she's been on it with her friends for the last couple of years. I'm happy they're still dressing up, and they're kind of, like, going to roam around and stay at somebody's house for most of it, I guess. But all my boys are all going. A couple of my younger boys have themed costumes with their cousins. We're going to be going out, but I beg to differ when you say the weather's not going to be ideal. Like, think about windy, rainy, and maybe like 55 degrees. That is Halloween. That is trick or treat to me. So I think I'm looking forward to the weather. Even it'd be weird. It's like 75 today, and I don't know. I need a little chill in the air when I'm going trick or treating. But yeah, we'll be out and about. We'll hit a ton of houses and probably reload our pillowcase. We'll have to run home, drop it off, and reload and get another one, halfway through.
Now, are you going to dress up while you walk around with the kids
Yes.
in the Beetlejuice outfit? Like, are you just going to rock that again? Because I know tomorrow, you should just do that. I love it because people say, like, oh, there's AJ Hawk. He's like AI. Like, They don't read your expressions. I love it, man. This is fantastic.
Well, so I will be dressing up tomorrow on the show, the Pat McAfee show. It's our Halloween special, so we always dress up. Last year I was Edward Scissorhands, did my own makeup and everything. This year I have another costume that I got to kind of put together myself. I don't know if I'm going to keep it on. Maybe I will keep it on for 6, 8, 10 hours straight. We'll see, but I'll have that tomorrow around noon. I'll be ready.
A lot of face paint. I mean, do you think you can do a full transition at that point, or how does that feel?
I don't know, but whatever I put together, I don't have any help from the outside. I don't have any. I want like one of those movie airbrush makeup artists to come and do something sweet for me, but see, I haven't found anybody.
You got to get Court. Court's got a full spray tan, and then she's got the little gun that does like all the little etchings and everything.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
she could really tan you up, brown you up really nice, give you a lot of different options for things that you're looking for, and maybe also do some more cuts in you, put some tats on you, whatever you need.
Okay. Hey, I mean, I should have talked to you sooner. I mean, that's a great idea. I don't. What about you guys? Well, Schlegel, what are you doing? You can be out there and scare people with your jaw? What are you doing?
Hey, tomorrow at the Armory, guess what? Like, yeah, dress up. We're gonna have a contest. Like, you wear your costume in here, get swole. Cousin Schlegel is coming back from yours because I just rewear the same costume all the time, and I'm just gonna do some upper body dynamic effort, right there, Cousin Eddie style in the gym.
How will they know that's any different than your normal attire that day?
It doesn't matter. That's the beauty. You just gotta tag all the gyms on it, man. I'm in the contest, baby.
Yeah, I'm not. See, the thing is, when I walk around, I don't get dressed up. I'm gonna be bundled up. Hopefully, get a little, like you said, age, because I got to run around. Like I got Caleb, who's your guys' age at the bottom there, and veteran.
Axel,
geez, almost forgot my little dude there. But yeah, so they're going to be running. So I'm going to have comfortable shoes and try to keep up because the speed and energy of which those guys have, they're rolling, man. So I try to stay out the street, let them kind of do their own thing, be their own guy.
Just yell. I just stand out the street and I just yell, make sure you say thank you. And then if I think one of my kids doesn't say thank you, go stomp on their whole bag of candy.
No, you keep the dog shock collar on them. And if they get too far away, you bring that bad boy down, or if they're disrespectful to somebody. So whatever you need to do. I mean, that's a great idea for your age.
Yeah, we'll see.
The real question is, do you guys know the houses that give the full size candy?
Oh yeah,
bars? Are
word spreads quick. Word spreads quick. Yeah, even back in our generation, you guys know, word spreads quick. Who has the king size candy bar? I told Pat and the boys the other day, there's a house that always gave cold cans of Pepsi, and we absolutely loved that place. We'd go there about halfway through, and a cold can of Pepsi in the middle of your dripping sweat because you've been spraying house to house. I still remember where that house is.
Do you go back now and try to get some cold Pepsi?
Man, can you imagine if that was still the case? If that's the case, then that'd be amazing.
That's what my kids, Kellen, they've got it scoped out. And sometimes the houses that are a little off the beaten path, they don't get very many people, so they give out the best candy. So you got to take that little sidetrack, use some speed. You don't want to waste too much time, but get up there and get back. And I like it because one of my favorite things, I like toffee, like a Heath bar, and I really don't ever get them a time outside this. So Cullen, my fifth grader, he'll usually snag me a Heath bar and give it to me at the end. So it's a little bit of appreciation for a job well done for Dad.
That's good. Do you go through all their candy? The old thing, oh, watch out, they put razor blades in the Snickers and all that back in the day. They used to scare us.
What's amazing, dude? They scared the hell out of us with the razor blades.
Whoever did that? How many razor blades were ever put in a piece of candy?
They stopped. I asked when we had kids again, I asked one of our neighbors who had kids that was a little bit older, and I go, so do they go to the hospital, run them through the x-ray? She goes, no, they stopped doing that. I'm like, really? That was a big deal. And she goes, yeah, nobody ever found anything. That was an old wives' tale, urban legend. No one's putting poison in any of the stuff or putting razor blades in there, which I'm kind of glad, because that would have ruined society. This is one night, but it was always out there. They're oh gosh, be careful. Have your parents look through it, run it through a metal detector as if there's 40 razor blades in a Kit Kat.
It's just like the sign that just like when people tell you, hey, if you pee in our pool, we have a chemical that makes it turn bright orange or something, and everyone will know that's fake. That's not a real thing.
AJ's been peeing in pools for years.
No, of course he has, or in bottles under tables. Hey,
no,
real quick thing, or on me, yeah. Real quick.
Yep.
Penn State, Ohio State this week, 3-4 in the Unhappy Valley, Beaver Stadium. Pretty big Beaver down there. What do you expect? What do you want to see from this Ohio State team?
Oh man. I want to, like you mentioned the playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage for the defense. I want to see that. A bunch of TFLs, hopefully get a lot of pressure on the QB. I know their tight end is very, very good player as well. So hopefully we can minimize what he is able to do. But I don't just go out there, like you said, Bob, go out there and have fun in a big game. This is like a great testing. Both teams are going to kind of see where they're at, I think, in this game. And man, how good would it feel to go in there, Happy Valley, go get a nice big road victory. Hopefully the game is in the fourth quarter feeling pretty good and we can just run that thing out. That'd be ideal, I think.
Schlegel floated out yesterday on the show about giving guys a couple pumps under the pile, like really freak them out a little bit, kind of how we used to do. And there were some people that were a little bit, I think, weirded out by that. But I'm telling you, like, you know how creeped out a dude does? Like, if you think it feels weird to you, remember how weird it feels to the other guy. That's what I always try to tell people.
That's that old school mentality, Bob. They don't make them like they used to, huh?
Absolutely.
So we're just talking about. Go ahead, Bob. Yeah, I know you gotta go, Age.
We got him next week, man. All right, Age. We appreciate the time, sir. Go have fun on Pat.
All right, see you guys. Yes.
Call. All right, before we get out of here, we got a big show coming up today. As always, we start with AJ. It's all downhill from there. I want to tell you about Export. We've talked about them before. We've had them on the show. Parents, athletes, you want to protect what matters most. AJ's got those nice pearly whites. Never used to wear a mouth guard. He would wear one now. It would be an Export mouth guard, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guard, scientifically tested to absorb high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards have 3 layers of advanced protection, including patented use of carbon fiber. They 3D print that thing right to your grill, so it's custom fit to you. Max protection, better comfort, better performance, clear communication. Focus on the game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com today. Save 15%. Protect what matters most with Export. More on the Bobby Carpenter Show coming up next.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
All right, Schlegel, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and got our guy AJ. Got into a lot of stuff there, and it was terrific. And we're going to start with this, Schlegel, because we've got some headlines that we're going to get to that are going to be tremendous, some different things that are going on across Ohio State and the world of football. For our tailgate talk today, we're going to go through our comments section of the YouTube chat, which I know you're excited to get into because there's going to be some frothy stuff in there.
So frothy.
But man, I was drowning in froth. I was like the 2 mice that fell into the bucket of cream. Like you had to churn your way to the top, swim your way to the top, and churn that cream into butter on the way. And there's been so much made. I know we talked about it yesterday. It's a lack of juice, is a lack of fire. You know, we talked. Zach Bourne had some comments about it. And I was like, people are like, Bobby and Zach disagree. I'm like, no, I agree with Zach far more than I disagree with him. It's a nuanced conversation. It's tough to be had in 240 characters. And so that's why we've been talking about it on here. You know, and going to practice, seeing what those guys did, like one of the most intense inside drills that you're going to find. And like, you and I played, you watched it. Like, I don't know what the heck they want out of some of these guys. And I think coming down to it, people have been picking at just about everything. And like the most recent thing that we saw, and I'm gonna let you, because we talked about. You said you had an answer. You had a solution. Solutions for institution.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we
social
did,
media. They were complaining. I think on X, big thing. Someone's like, Bobby, is it true the guys are skipping Carmen, Ohio? And I was like, well, skipping for what? Like, let's just figure out. Like, is there a guy like limping over there on crutches, or did they like go up the ramp because everything's going on? And I had kind of heard this like not directly to me, but it had been kind of talked about and spoken on. The guys were skipping and like to go to the middle of the field to pray after the games. A lot of guys do that in the NFL. The guys have been doing that in college for a long time. And so guys have been getting to Carmen, Ohio a little late. And how that was one of the problems now, Schlegs, that we found with the program. The guys were soft because they've been vacating this tradition. I'm like, first of all, it started in 2001. So it's not like it's the most storied tradition going back to Wes Fessler. Like the dudes aren't throwing their gold pants in the pond, like in a river. This isn't something that's got 80 years, 100 years. I mean, it's got tradition on it. It's 25 years of tradition, basically dating back to Tress. But I mean, guys are going to do something, and everybody's in a different place, but this team is very spiritual. They've got a lot of great role models. I'm very happy for the faith-based element that this team has. It doesn't make you soft, doesn't make you weak, and just being thankful for being able to walk off the field, because that's not a right that's given to anybody. And so somehow now that was the problem that we just didn't see, Schlegs, that this was the issue.
Yeah, I mean, remember when people were dancing and that was the issue, right? There's no more dancing. Hey, real quick though, easy solution, which I love how just people go down these rabbit holes and have to make it faith-based or not. Like, it doesn't matter what faith you are, but we know, Bob, that and our fight song and the United States military, we did this. You do it in the league. We did it when we played here. All you got to do is bump back the time. And again, I understand there's people like, I cringe when I see a coach doing an interview. Guys, all you got to do is press pause, bump back the time a little bit and say, this is when we're going to start. So you can do those things. You can do your interviews. You can, because all these guys get recruited with other guys, and these guys have played in All-American games with other guys. And just like in the league, Bob, like you have guys that went to your school and you're talking to them, etc. Give them a little bit of time and then go over and do it. That's all you got to do, guys. Just back it up 2 minutes. Pretty simple. Pretty simple.
Do you see
nobody even brought that to anybody's attention?
Well, because nobody thinks it's an issue or a deal.
Exactly.
That's why. Except for maybe
they're like nitpicking each other, and like 75 comments off of that one thing. In spirited comments, fine, all good, but like see it through a different prism. You got to run out of the tunnel. There's time allotment for that. All you got to say is, hey guys, we want everybody to be involved in it. We're going to do all of our interviews with the media, and then boom, that way Ryan can be in front. That way everybody has the ability to get to sing Carmen, Ohio. Because I just tell you this, we all love being able to sing it with the student body and with all the fans, because then when you leave, you still know it. You do it with your kids. We do it on the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. At the end, when we say, hey, guess what? Buckeye Cruise family, and it's Buckeye Cruise family, like all this money that we raised for the James Cancer Hospital, $4 million, oh, come and sing Ohio's prayer. Like, that's what we do. Right.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like disenchanted. I'm like, this is what we think. Like, and this is what happens when you lose. And we talked about it. And even sometimes now in Ohio State, when you win, you look for everything. And sometimes you look for problems that aren't problems. And that becomes the issue. Is I'm a big fan of like always examining everything, making sure that you're looking in the right spot. Unless if there's a stone unturned, there's something that you can find, something you can fix, something that you can improve. Like, I'm a big believer. Go do it. Go try to make it better. But in the same vein, sometimes there is nothing to improve. Like, you don't need to change anything. Everything is fine in certain areas. And I looked at that. I'm like, if this is what we think that we need to change because of whatever the toughness element, and I think that's kind of what it comes down to, or not respecting tradition or whatever it is. But I didn't see this as any form of disrespect or anything out there. And I was honestly kind of surprised and shocked that was the case, because you saw the mentions, which they're still coming in, by the way, of everything that has been out there and everything that has happened. It's kind of remarkable that was something that was that big of a deal.
Yeah, and it's not a big deal. So on to the next, right? Like, that's how I say it. Like, listen, man. And there was other people. It was crazy. So I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. But here's what I do know, Bob. Right? You and I were able to go witness practice and I saw one of the most physical inside drills that I've seen. Right. And then I go back to yesterday's comments of what you and I have said. It's been posted out there. What do you want to see Ohio State this next week? Playing fast and violent, right? And then how do you leave no doubt? You play the complete game. You play the complete game. And that complete game version, guys, just so everybody knows, is going to look a little bit different than it did at the beginning of the season from a running game perspective, from a defensive perspective, because of certain personnel things that have transpired through injuries or whatever, right? There's going to be some things that have to be adjusted to moving forward because of those situations. So again, how do we put that full, complete game together? Though it's going to be a matchup game, highly contested. It's not going to be easy, but you know what? Go out there, let it rip. To your point with AJ, you and AJ, first round draft picks, you guys never played a perfect game. I know for a fact I never played a perfect game. So it's like, don't be perfect. All we want is your best. All we want is your best, and to go out there and play with juice and energy with your teammates. That's all that matters. Don't let anybody, and this goes to your children, right? This goes to high school kids, even professional kids, right? Don't let people steal your joy. Go out there and have fun. Play together.
What's the quote? Is it Douglas MacArthur, or is it Patton or Eisenhower? Like, the perfect plan.
No. Yeah, no, it's a good plan executed violently is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Something to that effect. That's Patton.
Patton. There you go. And there's a little bit of that where, and we'll get into this here because I want to dive into that a little bit more next, of understanding like that planning element, what the expectations are and how that allows you to maybe play freer with everything. But yeah, there's a lot that went into that. I was glad we were able to pull AJ into that conversation, continue it here, and kind of dive on it. We got more on that because this has kind of been the topic du jour of the week, Schlegs. They're coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
That's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
All right, welcome back into the program. In Ohio State, we traveling to Penn State this week. Big matchup game, 3 versus 4. You have game day. You have big noon. It's going to be a huge matchup. Going to be a big, frothy situation. Ohio State favored by 3.5 Schlegs. And what's interesting about this, as much as there has been concern locally, nationally, the AP, you're still ranked 4th. And now next Tuesday, we'll have the first college football playoff selection show. So we'll see what the playoff committee ultimately thinks. But you're still ranked 4th by the AP. Highest ranked, well, Georgia is the other one-loss team, but second highest ranked one-loss team. And you're a favorite heading in to Happy Valley.
Yep.
And to me, with everything that's gone on, I think it's almost better that the game's on the road. I kind of like that because when you go on the road, Schlegs, you have to internalize everything. It's literally like you always talk about Ohio against the world, us against the world. That's a big thing Ryan it's kind of leaned in on. But then, like, you feel the pressure and it kind of the world around you, and it kind of squeezes everybody down. Like, it forces inward pressure from your teammates. And so everybody kind of has to come together to understand that's the only way you're getting out of there. When you're down in the arena and it seems like everybody out there is against you, I think that's the solution that you ultimately need. And maybe this is getting on the road. You had 2 weeks to sit there and marinate on that loss. You let that game be closer than it should have been. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of things that went on. and now all of a sudden, like, there's this little firestorm around it. Maybe internalizing this, Schlegs, will allow them to simplify some stuff. You make it a little bit easier. You have to move some guys around on the offensive line. I know Ryan St. might still be able to come back, but I mean, I'm guessing odds are you're going to probably have Donovan Jackson at tackle and whoever they have at guard, whether it's, Austin 𝗟𝗓𝗪, maybe Carson Hinsman. I mean, there's options that they have. Carson
Luke Tegra.
Luke Montgomery came in there. Well, Tegra's going to play right guard, so unless they have a clone of him to play both guard Schlegs, he'll have to play one of them. At least that's what's been going on. And, he's even had some injury stuff. So there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of moving parts. And sometimes it's just best to simplify it. You get back to basics. You're on the road. It's going to be loud. It's going to be hostile. And you just let it rip. You let it rip. And I always enjoyed those. I mean, I loved home games, but there's something about road games, Schlegs, that were great.
Yeah, there's something about a road game at Penn State. Some of these guys have never played there. And I just remember ours in 2005 and going into that game. I loved it, right? Because it was at night. This game should have been at night because I liked the fever pitch of that stadium at night, especially back when we played, Bob. Remember, first off, terrible little bitty tiny locker room, which it's super intimate, right? Just guys genitalia all up in your face and you're trying to get ready for it, right? I know that you love that. But anyways, but then you walk out of there. You walk out of there and you are in a 6-foot wide chain link fence on both sides, meandering through the deal to your tunnel that you would then come out of. And it was awesome. It literally was like Gladiator. The only thing that would have been different would have been if you had to run up a ramp or you floated into the arena. That would have been magical. But it was just you and your boys versus 110 and then the 11 on the field that are against you. It was so fun. So fun.
Well, and I think they've changed a little bit. That at first, I don't know if they changed it for our last year or not, but once you kind of get underneath in the concourse, all they had was that little yellow rope to hold people back. Like you were walking around and there was no fence. Like you had to cut through the concourse to get there. And they just had this little yellow rope held by, the Pennsylvania State Police, State Patrol. And I mean, it was great. They're on you. They're throwing stuff. There's old ladies yelling, bleep you, bleep this. Love
that.
But you're ready to go. Like if you're not ready at that point, I mean, you're in the wrong sport. You're in the wrong country. Like you got to get out of here because it is the intensity of 1,000 suns. But that amplifies it up, man. Like that's what gets you ready to play.
Yeah, it's you and your guys, right? It's like, hey man, we got to communicate. Let's go play fast. All the things that we talk about, all the things that we go practice. AJ made the greatest point, right? It's like, hey, this is game day is for you. Game day is for you. Yeah. Sorry to say this, Buckeye fans, it ain't for you, right? It's for them. It's the men in the arena. That's why we're doing it. It's you. Do your job, right? Like that's the why. As much as everybody's like, oh, we got to hold them accountable and you got to do this, this, and this. Sorry, it's not why I play. Don't play for you. Play for you. I played for you, Bobby. I played for you, AJ. I played for you, Tress. I played for you, Dante, et cetera, et cetera. ... Troy, offensive guys. I'm going to go out there. And that's the other thing, too. The mindset, I was just sharing, the mindset, especially defensively, right? And I always reference the Juicy J, but every time I go out, I just got to show out, hey, it doesn't matter where it is. And I think AJ brought this up, too. And Ryan brought this up. Another good takeaway from that game is that you were down, you had to go score to win a game. Guess what? Defensively, you had to go get a stop to win the game. You got that done. Boom. 2 thumbs up like the Fonz, right? That's what you want to see. So your situation, that's going to happen. And guess what? There might be a short field, right? Sudden change incident. Guess what? Another opportunity to make a play. Another opportunity to get the ball back from my dudes, right? Hey, you're going to make a play. Boom, Top Gun high five. Great job. Another opportunity for a goal line stand. Another opportunity to run the ball and take somebody's manhood. Awesome. Go do that. Celebrate it. You know what I mean? So, and in those moments, you're not waiting for everybody else to be or whatever. You're the only ones that are bringing that up, right? Yeah. Because you're not waiting on your home fans. You're the only juice provider for your team.
Well, and you mentioned the Fonz. Happy birthday, Henry Winkler. 79 today, Schlegs. Fonz still kicking it, still getting it done. We got headlines coming up next. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bobby Carpenter. I want to give a huge thank you and a shout out to Affinity Whole Health, the leaders in the testosterone replacement industry. I've been on a testosterone replacement program for a few years right now, and I've got to tell you, it's been an absolute game changer. Affinity Whole Health has allowed me to be the best version of myself, both mentally and physically. I loved how easy it was to get started. I booked my free consultation, met with my prescriber, checked my numbers, and Affinity Whole Health designed a program that was customized to fit my needs. So I'm telling you guys, if you have low energy, you want to get rid of that spare tire around the waist or take it to the next level in the bedroom, Affinity Whole Health is the place to get started. So don't wait any longer. 5 minutes of your time, book your free consultation. You're going to love the way you feel. It is time for our today's headlines, brought to you by our friends over at Affinity Whole Health. Affinity Whole Health, it can help you become the best version of yourself. Personalized treatment plans, whether you got weight loss, low energy, muscle loss, poor sleep, they can help you with all of it. I've been a patient there for the last 7 years. It's super great. It's customized to you for dudes, dudettes at all stages of life. They want to put on muscle, they can help you do that. You want to get leaned up, they can help you do that. You want to lose some weight with some semaglutide injections, they can do that. They've got Ohio covered. You go in there, you go to affinityWholeHealth.com, you set up your free consultation, you go in, they develop a program customized to you, ship it to you in 2 days. So if you don't want to go back in for your treatment, you do not have to. You can keep it rolling at home. That is affinityWholeHealth.com. Go check it out. All right, Schlegs. Got some little Buckeye news outside of the realm of football, if you will. Braxton Miller, obviously former Ohio State quarterback. Columbus Crew, they're in the playoffs right now. They lost to New York FC last night, Schlegs, but that didn't stop our guy Braxton Miller from getting out there. Every time you go out, you know he's going to show out, hyping the crowd, getting them going. Like, absolutely love the panic and passion that he is bringing. And so that was tremendous to see that with Braxton.
Yeah, I love Braxton, man. Look at him, man. He's got the hair down. The last time I saw him, it was up, right? I didn't even know he had that much hair. Looking, kind of like, I'm trying to think of like what kind of guy. Like, I might be like a little outcast look. I don't know. I can see him. I can see him listening to that. I love Braxton. He's fantastic. Buckeye, baby.
And then also we have this. This is not a Buckeye. This guy plays for the Colts. He played at the University of Florida, Schlegs. And like, we start talking about soft dudes that don't have a lot of juice to them. Anthony Richardson, who was a first-round draft pick, highly drafted quarterback out of Florida, incredibly disappointing if you are a Colts fan. So what happened was they're in the middle of the game. He'd scrambled a couple of times. I think he'd run it 3 times in a row. There was a penalty, so it's 3rd and long, 3rd and 22. And Anthony Richardson, Schlegs, does something that you see guys do on the defensive side. Rarely have I ever seen this out of an offensive player. When I say rarely, very few times, outside of a running back or wideout. Anthony Richardson, as the quarterback, gives the head tap to come off the field on 3rd down, get Joe Flacco in there. I mean, we want to talk about like guys with heart and toughness and different things. I've never seen or heard of anything like that out of a quarterback of a football team.
That's bumpy, Hey, bring the other guy in. That's a bad look. That's honestly, that's all you can say on that one.
It's the worst look.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Worst look.
There's only one other worst look, and that would be talking trash to the fans when they're running a Hail Mary pass, and you're totally
that is true. Position. We had 2 of the worst things I've seen in football: talking trash to the fans, giving up a Hail Mary, and then a quarterback tapping his head coming out of the game. They did bench him. Joe Flacco will now be the starter at least this week. Who knows what his future had. Someone told me, they drafted him for his physical traits. And he's supposed to be an elite athlete. I go, conditioning is a choice. That's not a trait. I mean, that's the reality.
Conditioning makes cowards of us all, right?
Absolutely.
And I think you've already talked about it in the juice, Bob, but like those guys normally at practice have to run extra because their overall workload is not as much as everybody else to what they would potentially get in the league. And even quarterbacks, like there would be a certain day, it's like, hey, I got to, through that extra running, I got to make sure that they touch their 90% high speed distance. Just got to touch it, but I need to do that on a Wednesday or on the Thursday if you're in the NFL. So it's like you got to get that, but they got to get extra stuff because of what they do during practice.
All right. Well, listen, I want to get some more in. We're going to take a pause on that. We got some other great stuff here. 2-year anniversary for one of the Buckeyes. We'll get that tomorrow. So I want to get to our tailgate talk. It's brought to you by Real Truck. Some of these comments in here, Schlegs, you're going to love it. We got that coming up here next on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
Building a home for the people who are worth it. Stepping out, throwing in a line, and dropping the tailgate for a picnic. And finding far-off campsites with the people you're closest to. Upgrade your truck, Jeep, or Bronco with over 1 million parts and accessories. And bring your truck to life. Real Truck.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
All right, Schlegs, we got some comments here coming from the last show, and there maybe we'll get to the show prior to that tomorrow. Maybe today's comments, folks. Listen, it's Tailgate Talk brought to you by Real Truck. Go to realtruck.com, outfit your truck, Jeep, Bronco, bring it alive, interior, exterior. They've got stuff for everything. You spend $100, you use promo code Bobby at the end, you're going to get a free hat. So go to realtruck.com, buy some sweet stuff. Maybe you can keep the hat for yourself. Maybe you give it as a gift. Maybe you buy the stuff for a Jeep, Bronco, or truck as a gift. You keep the hat. It's all in play for you. So make sure you go to realtruck.com and bring your truck alive on this Halloween. All right, Schlegs. Here's one of the questions. It's actually pretty good. It's been fairly positive. Gosh.
I'm ready.
Here we go. Well, I'm going to start with one of the other ones from our last show. Well, actually, we're not. Yeah, you know what? We'll get to that.
Do it, Bob. Do it.
On the live show with Berm and Ward. Trying to keep it positive. There's a lot of negative airwaves in the narrative. So what you want to say, but you can't, is how controversial it would be. Many church boys, not enough shank ability, too many choir boys. Is there a difference in the Michigan game for the last several years? Is just plain nastiness? I'm a man of deep faith, but am I wrong? And Schleggs, I always point to you when I say that, because this is the ultimate compliment rather, is you can be a person of faith. You can be a man of faith and yet still have a mean and nasty streak. Just make sure that it's controlled and it's utilized in the proper manner. There's nothing about having to be meek and be passive and timid. And I think that the balancing of that is what can be hard for some people to understand with what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, Bob, you know this, man. I'll shank you on that field for sure. I mean, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to dent face masks. That's the point. And I always go back to, I just remember, like, this is a conflict, but 1 Corinthians 10:31, and I always take everything to context that it is biblically, but it's whether you eat or drink, whatever you do, to all the glory of God. When I'm on that field, how do I go play? Well, I'm going to play fast, hard, and violent as hard as I possibly can for my teammate, right? And I also know this, like, I'm covered. I'm not perfect. Like, he's perfect. I don't need to be perfect. I try to attain that, but how do I go do that on the field? Like, I'm just going to go as hard as I possibly can.
Use your ability the best that you have. Like, and go.
That's it, man. That's how you bring joy, right? And also uplifting people and serving people. Like, you're called to do that too by being a great teammate. We alluded to that when we were on Tressel's podcast. Like, to me, it was never about accolades or anything else. It was about me doing my job at a high level so we can win.
Absolutely.
Right. So you don't have to get into the choir boy things, guys. Like, it's also very, very personal to you on how you do that. And people, I honestly, Tim Tebow's a great example, man. He's out there. That guy played with passion. That guy would probably shank you on the field, right? Bleeding all over the place. He played extremely hard and is a person of high faith. So, like, you can do it, man. So I'm not worried about that at all.
Oh, you hear guys like John Lynch, Brian Dawkins, dudes that would like literally knock people out. I mean, on the field, like you can be both. It's not one or the other. Next question. Will Hinsman get to play, in your opinion? With him being an Iron Buckeye, thought he would be a huge asset this season. One of the good things about Carson Hinsman, Schlegel, played a ton last year at center.
Yep.
Had some mixed results, but he's got a lot of experience. He did a lot of good, really good things. I wouldn't be shocked if you see them go to him. I think that was a play. He was in the mix for that right guard spot, and they were rotating kind of him and Seth McLaughlin at center earlier in spring ball and a little in camp. Like, I think he's got a chance to get out there and be a big impact.
Yeah, I think here's the deal. I think the guard situation, regardless, is helped by Seth McLaughlin. So whoever you put in there, right? It's just, what do you got to be? And we know we've heard Chip about why they like Tegra and his length and how big he is, but you also got to be an earth mover. You got to have a little bit of dog too. Carson brings that element. So again, that's why even in week 10 of practice, they all matter, guys. Like every time you go out there, you have an opportunity of growing and also showing the coaches that you could be the guy for the job. Wouldn't be surprised if he's in there. Also remember, just because you're an Iron Buckeye doesn't mean automatically play. Like, those are all things that are earned. Just like if you have a great strength and conditioning program, why are guys not playing as fast as they probably could be? That's also a coaching thing, right? So but again, we go back. It's a team. It all works together. Coaches, players. That's what it is.
Here we go. Here's what we'll do. 2 more Schlegs. It's maybe not the most positive on us, but it's fine. I'll take the beginning as a compliment. These 2 meatheads. Yeah, everything is great with the Buckeyes. Ryan Day is the modern day Newt Rockney. Jim Knowles is Buddy Ryan. Hand smack to the face emoji. Tackles for loss were from awful screenplays by Nebraska. Because if Raiola was accurate, we'll lose by 20. But hey, let's just give trophies for participating this year.
Yeah, what do you want me to say about it? Cool, great comment. Thank you for leaving a comment. I
like
only tell
comments,
you
we like them. I mean, is there any nuance that you want to add to that? I mean, some of them were from those screens. True, Raiola wasn't great, but like, show me college quarterbacks that are great. That are great. He was a highly touted kid. People were sad when he decommitted from Ohio State. Like, but that's what you have when you have a freshman quarterback. That's why you have Will Howard here, who's been good, a 5th-year senior.
I would just think the difference between you and I, Bob, is that we just see things with a completely different prism, and we're also real. Like, we're just not going to all of a sudden like abandon ship. 1, because we have relationships with everybody that's in there. 2, because we also know ball, and we're just not going to jump to conclusions and throw stuff out there for people to click. We're just going to give you honest and fair things. We've already told you what we want to see. Guess what? It's probably the exact same thing those coaches want to see and the players want to see. We just want to see it in Happy Valley this Saturday. Big noon kickoff.
There's 2 comments that are kind of the same. And it's interesting here. Everyone talks about the running game going, but I'm a big believer in doing what works. And you've got to stay with the running game. 30 carries might have been a little much last week with how rough it was. But it says with JJ, Emeka, Ennis, Tate, we should get 4 passing TDs a game. That's 28, maybe more from G, Judkins, and Trey. You get 5, it's 35, maybe a QB run in there, even more points with some field goals. Like, this team should be. And then there's another comment that says, no, Schlegs, you love the run, but this team with the passing should be able to almost pass to open up the run. Kind of your thoughts on maybe the reversal, if you will, the switcheroo when it comes to run to pass versus pass to run.
Again, whatever gives you the best opportunity to win. And I think one thing that was that wasn't brought up enough was the fact that Carnell Tate had his first 100-yard game, played extremely well. Love that kid smile. 102 yards, I believe, had a touchdown. But hey, listen, you got to go with what's working. And so but if they're going to just play shell back there, it's going to be all underneath stuff, and they're not going to bring somebody in the box, you're going to run the football. But by forcing that, bringing that guy down, it opens up the deep shots down the seam because we have to bring another hat in to stop the run. And to your point, my point would be the same thing. You just got to do with what's going to work, right? So again, that's why they pay coaches a lot of money, is to figure that out. I'm not going to sit here and tell them what we want to see. I kind of expect, just me, having a guy like Will Howard, you got to have the quarterback run that. We saw it in the LSU Texas A&M game. Bring in the new quarterback. Boom. Change the dynamic of that football game. Adding Will into the mix. How does that look? Can you run different things off that? Can you do some RPOs to get it to a JJ or a Mecca or a Carnell or whomever in space quick with guys? We've already seen how a little 4-yard pass can turn into 50 yards. Like, we've seen that. So I'm interested to see how we have adapted, and what does that look like against a really good Penn State defense?
Absolutely. All right. Well, we got a lot of those. We'll get through some more tomorrow. We're going to open this thing up even more so. If you love the answers, please keep leaving the comments, like, subscribe, give us more information. We'd love to be able to talk about it. And even if it's something I don't agree with, Schlegel doesn't agree with, we'll bring it up. We'll get to it, and we'll give you our thoughts. All that is always here on the Bobby Carpenter Show. We'll wrap the show up next.
Building a home for the people who are worth it. Stepping out, throwing in a line, and dropping the tailgate for a picnic. And finding far-off campsites with the people you're closest to. Upgrade your truck, Jeep, or Bronco with over 1 million parts and accessories. And bring your truck to life. Real Truck.
All right, final segment of the show, Schlegs. Give me your parting thoughts.
Just parting thoughts would be, I just think that everybody's trying to look for things. The whole faith-based thing, that's got to go. Like that absolutely is asinine as to why. Let's go and just look at what we want to see from the Buckeyes. We want to see the Buckeyes run the football. Guess what? It might not be that. It might be the past. We just don't know. But again, stay with your team, guys. Like we love Ohio State football. We all do. Stay with those. Support our guys. Let's see what's happened this week. What I want to see happen is a complete Buckeye football game, and let the chips fall where they may. Just keep swinging.
Keep swinging, Schlegs. Well, very well said. We got more stuff coming at you. It's going to be a big show. We'll be live with you tomorrow, 12:30, breaking down this game a little more. We'll have Ben Stevens with us. All the things you need. I know, Schlegs, you didn't get to be with him last week.
I know. I missed
Blow. It's okay. He said he missed your musk and your positivity. The hype man for him. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Bobby Carpenter Show.